Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. Jealousy. I have always noticed that my mum is incredibly jealous. For example, if I buy something, she rarely compliments it, she just gives me the side eye and makes a bunch of snarky. Story 2. Entitled grandmother tells me her son is working hard and he really loves me. For context, I, 16F, spoke last time with my father 2 years ago, and it was only a short conversation. He went to England in order to work like 7 years ago. He was in total awe to me and my sis when we were little. We were both raised by our maternal grandma. Until 2016 we used to visit him every Sunday. Let the real story begin. I talked with him via WhatsApp until I was 14. After that, he didn't even bother to send my happy birthday. It hurt me that there were strangers who wished my happy birthday and he didn't, but that's that. Last time when we spoke, he asked me for a photo of myself in order to make a magnet. Last summer, I visited my paternal grandmother and we went to a park. She called her son. He seemed nervous and irritated by that. He talked to her 3 minutes, but didn't even said hello to me and my sis. After that, she kept telling us how much her son loves us and if it wasn't my maternal grandma we would be an happy family. I was about to send her to St. Peter but managed to calm myself. For context, my maternal grandmother is an absolute kind person and she was the one who raised me from where I was born. After that, paternal grandmother kept telling us how hard his son works in England and how is he struggling with money and how he loves us and would make anything for his little girls. That's not true. He's always partying with his girlfriend. I was reaching my limit and said, if you say he loves us, why he didn't even bother to wish us happy birthday? He rarely sends us any gift or even a letter. Story 3. Entitled parents are back at my brother's throat. So about a month ago I posted how my parents threatened to kick out my brother since he wasn't doing anything with his life and my parents discovered he is gay and has been chatting with a guy over Telegram and Discord with him, and my dad lit him up. But he was doing something with his life, but my parents didn't like what he was doing and decided to make it their problem. Anyways, he's still getting kicked out 5 days after he turns 18, which is legal since he will no longer be a minor, which is BS because he will be on his own. Not only that, his phone will be taken, his video games he bought with his own money, and anything he owned. Sure, they're probably gonna let him pack a few things, but I don't think they're gonna be merciful. My parents were being cutthroat a week ago and yelled at my brother for being a disgrace to this family and he took it like a champ and didn't even give a reaction. My parents don't give much love to him anymore either. And to make matters worse, I don't think anyone will go to his graduation part besides family. Since a lot of people at my school heard my brother is gay from my parents, and little by I mean brother. I'm not gay myself, but the shit my parents pulled a month ago to now makes me mad. If you want me to post this someplace else I will do so if I got too aggressive. I just don't think what my parents are doing to him is great, but this is what life is. Story 4. Dad won't let me move out. So I'm planning on moving out and moving in with one of my friends. I'm not gonna stay here because my dad is a control freak and mentally abusive. Whole other story. He said when I move out I can't bring one thing from my room with me because anything in his house he owns, including clothes, gifts from family members etc. My dad also said when my friend comes to pick me up he's going to beat his ass. Can I legally bring some of my stuff with me or am I screwed? Edit. Thank you all so much for the replies, it means a lot to me and has cleared up a lot of things. It sucks that my life has to be like this. He used to be a good dad until he started drinking and my mom started doing drugs, but hopefully it will get better as time goes on. Sorry if I don't see your comment, it's getting hard to keep up with them, but I will keep you guys updated until I get out. Again, thanks so much. 3. Story 5. One of my entitled parent stories. Hello everyone. I just got reminded of this by my stepsister because my stepmom, her mom called her the other day asking if she could give her my number. For a bit of context, I'm a 19-year-old non-binary person, but I was born as a female. Now for some background info. When I first met my stepmom, our entitled parent of the story, I was 7 years old. My parents had just divorced about 8 months prior. She was never very nice to me. My dad was always very kind, before her. It was always a pain when I had to go to her house. Me and my stepsister got along super well, though almost immediately we became best friends. I was a year older than her. Now for the actual situation. When I was about 15, I was minding my own business while me and my stepsister played Minecraft together. At the time my dad was at the store. Out of nowhere my stepmom called me downstairs and told me, not asked, that I was going to babysit for one of her friends. I could barely make ramen because I was just starting to learn to cook. I sighed softly, knowing that if I argued I would get my knuckles hit with a wooden dowel rod. If that's not what it's called, I'm sorry, until I screamed and cried and agreed. There were many cases of me being hit with things. If you want me to tell you all the things, it will be in the story 6. My parents try to guilt me into having kids. My parents are constantly trying to guilt me into having kids. My husband and I have told them several times that at this point in our lives we don't want kids and are happy without them. We are both very successful in our careers and involved in our community, and my parents don't seem to understand how hurtful it is to act like we aren't good enough unless we have kids when we have worked so hard to get what we have. They went as far as to say they have decided to downsize their home because there is no point in living in a big house if they don't have grandkids, implying it is my fault that they will be leaving my childhood home. Almost every conversation I have with them goes back to when are you having kids? I am so fed up. How do other non-kid people deal with this? Story 7. Why does my abusive mother feel entitled to my life? Since 2019, my mom, 60F, and I, 30F, have been estranged, and by that I mean I called the cops on her, cut her off cold turkey and never looked back. Anyway, and she recently managed to contact me through a work crew member whom she'd hired for some construction work. They chatted and she realized he knew me. Despite my clear request for her to leave me alone, she continues to reach out. I understand that there is a part of my mom that genuinely wants to be a good parent and regrets our strained relationship. However, I have come to the realization that she cannot fulfill that role for me. She blames me for the breakdown of her marriage, disregarding her own extramarital affair that I was a result of. While I have found some catharsis in recognizing this truth, I am also aware that she will never acknowledge the abuse I endured by her addict acquaintances or her criminal husbands. It's important for me to live in reality and not hold on to the illusion that she can switch into being a caring mother full-time, instead of an emotional roller coaster that is caring for short bursts and cruel for most of the time. I acknowledge that my mom struggles with mental health, and I genuinely don't wish any harm upon her. I want her to find the help she needs and overcome her challenges. However, I have worked hard to build a positive life for myself, and I fear that her presence could disrupt the progress I have made. While I am hoping to become a better person, I snapped a bit yesterday. Before blocking her in frustration, I messaged her some pretty mean stuff because I don't understand why she wants to be in my life. It's not good for me, it doesn't really do anything for her. I know it was wrong of me to throw her past in her face, because she can't fix it and it will never actually sink in with her. I just don't understand why she thinks she deserves to be in my life. Why she feels that I should open my doors to her and allow her to belittle and degrade me. Like, why as a birthing unit is she entitled to do that? I don't understand how it seems normal for her to try and trick me into talking to her, how these surprise encounters are supposed to work. She knows I don't like her, nor do I want to be around her. I am unsure what the concept is when she randomly meets people I used to know as a kid and thinks that if she gets enough of my acquaintances aware of the fact that I cut her off, that it will embarrass me to take her back. Story 8. Entitled parents get kicked out of their apartment and move in with us. So most of this actually happened last year. My uncle, Kyle, 26, had a baby. His girlfriend Jessica, 26, moved in with him and became close with our family. They're the entitled parents of this story. For context, my mother is the oldest of 6 and Kyle is the second youngest. Most of the family lives in a different state besides us and Kyle. We watched their baby every weekend for them, especially after Jessica became pregnant with baby number 2. They got pregnant again literally 3 weeks after giving birth to the first baby. A couple weeks before Jessica's due date, they tell us that they're moving to a small Midwest state, which is far away. My mom is devastated because she had fallen in love with baby number 1 and was excited for baby number 2. When we asked them who would help them with the babies, Kyle said no one helps us here anyways, so it won't be any different. This felt like a slap in the face for my mom, who not only watched the baby every weekend, but spent hundreds of dollars on baby things. So they pack up and move away. Jessica's dad bought them a small house to live in out there, and for a few weeks everything was fine. Then they started complaining about the house. The house was a fixer-upper. Jessica's dad couldn't afford to buy them a nice house in addition to his own stuff. Kyle and Jessica sold the house and moved into an apartment. Jessica's dad was upset and asked for the money since it was technically his house, and they said no. This caused basically Jessica's entire family to cut them off. Jessica was a Sam and Kyle was working. Then Kyle quit his job to help with the babies. I don't know what else they expected when they ran out of money and got evicted. Kyle asked my mom for money, which she sent. The next month, he asked for more money. That's when we figured out he was planning on asking my mom to pay their rent every month. My mom said no, but they were able to get a couple hundred more out of her by saying think of our kids. Eventually they were kicked out of their apartment. They had no money and no house. Jessica's family wouldn't talk to them. Kyle's parents had no money. His other siblings were pissed at him. He also asked them for money. Something about my mom is that she's the kindest person in the world. You could literally burn her house down and she would still help you when you needed it. We also have a decently large house. For a 4-person family, Dad, Mom, me, littler brother, we have plenty of space. So, to all of our disappointment, my mom let Kyle and Jessica move into our house with their 2 babies. At this point the babies are 18 and 6 months old. My room is the biggest, excluding Master's, so I moved out into the guest room. Kyle and Jessica had 7 dogs and 7 cats that they wanted to move into our house. Since me and my dad are allergic to cats, we told them no cats. We told them they could keep 1 dog. Naturally, they shit-talked my mom to their whole family, who immediately told us. They were saying that my mom was cruel and didn't understand how pets were a part of their family. My mom paid upwards of $2,000 on their move back with the agreement that they would pay her back one day. Unlikely. When they finally moved in, we were on vacation. My grandpa flew down to help them move in. My grandpa found 7 cats in our garage. Turns out they thought they would be able to hide them in there the entire time they lived with us. I don't even know how they thought it would work out. So many things happened that won't fit into this post, but imagine the world's worst roommates and that's them. They were terrible. We all celebrated the day they finally moved out. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.